All right. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are. Another week down. It's been going by pretty fast. We're already a quarter of the way. We're into like what, a quarter? No, yeah, we passed a quarter of the way
No.
for the year. Yes, we did.
Oh,
There's
oh, oh, yeah, yeah.
four
Through the
quarters in a
year.
year.
I just said through the
Four,
month. I thought you were
no,
going through
four
the month.
quarters in a year.
I, I just
What?
thought you were going to say
Can
the
you just
month.
let me? Can you just let me
Okay.
finish the opening before you are? Because I just because it's your week doesn't mean you just get to all be all antsy and everything like that. All right, you need to just calm down, pump your brakes. I'm trying to get the people settled in, situated, and you over here just already on 100, just like most of y'all already do in your generation. You already on 100. Can't even let somebody explain something. But anyway, Jay, and I'm Tack. For those of you that don't know, I mean, we've done this for about almost a year now, so you should know us by now. Go ahead, sir. Age before beauty. You have the floor.
These young people, they won't get it. But the topic I want to discuss is something my daughter, give a shout out. Thank you for generating this topic. Mentioned something to me and kind of took me off guard. Um, I want to place a scenario, um, a office party, and the scenario is a black man, um, and a white man, but I just want to see the black perspective on telling a white female, um, as she's getting ready to leave a party, that from an office party, that I'm going to miss my eye candy. How would she receive it? And then that same response, how would you think a black woman would see it?
I mean, the same response is going to be the same across the board because you asked me to put myself in that situation, right? So
That's right.
it's two different ways this goes. If I'm a Denzel or a Michael B. Jordan, they have no issue with it. Be like, oh, can I be that candy, this, that, and the third? They'd be all for it, be all over it. But if I'm a below average or, someone that's deemed as not attractive to them, it's going sideways. That's going, HR or however, I'm going to be perceived as whatever way I am amongst my peers. So that's the whole thing about that situation that you're presenting. It's not going to be consistent because people have different viewpoints or people have different mm, it has different outcomes for different people, I guess would be the best thing to say. Because just like in the gym, if you were an attractive guy going up to a girl, she's not going to sit there and label you as a creep. She's going to give you an opportunity to say something if she deems you attractive. Whereas if you're not attractive or whatever, you get called this, that, and the third. I mean, that's just the way it's seen across the board, and I've seen it happen. We've already talked about like this kind of not exactly the same scenario, but the situation where it's the same outcome. But yes, there are some people that may look at it regardless of how a person looks physically or whatever, and those people tend to have better morals about how to handle those situations. But usually that's how it would go. Like just it just depends, if you have the pretty privilege as they like to call it.
So you're saying if you're handsome,
Mm-hmm.
you might could get away with it.
You more than
Doesn't
likely
matter what color you are.
you probably are getting away with it.
So
I mean, because you saying I'm missing
so
my mm-hmm.
if you're older, you're older gentleman. So would that still apply
But I
to
just
a younger?
I gave you that example. That's why I said Denzel because he's older guy.
Yeah, that's right.
So
That's right.
it's the older guy. So more than likely, the person looks at them. Oh, he's established. He has money. This, that, and the third. Like it all. There's a lot of factors that go into it. If you're looking bummy at a party, I mean, yeah, people are going to be like, oh well. But if you're older, I'm expecting you to be dressed a certain way. So you're going to be dressed a certain way, make the appearance that you have some kind of financial status, and on top of that, you're attractive. If you're attractive looking, yeah, it's going to fall in that same category. So whereas if you're younger, you can tend to get away with a lot more as far as dressing
Mhm.
but you still have that physical appearance that you're attractive to the if you're attractive to them or whatever the case may be.
So this in layman's terms, if you're ugly, don't even try it.
Basically,
And with no status, no position, don't
basically.
even try it. Doesn't matter what, black or white,
I mean, even if
green or purple.
even if you're ugly and you have money, you're more than likely not. Some people will let you get away with it because they're after what you got. So typically, though, if you're not attractive, I would say because attractiveness is different for everybody, but the general consensus, if you're
Right.
not at that general consensus of attractive, like men, people's magazine, hottest man of
Mhm.
the year or whatever, that
Right.
kind of thing, where it's just the overall consensus of whatever every ethnicity thinks is attractive or whatnot. And that's how I see it, and that's usually how it goes. Um, and it's unfortunate.
Well, it is, and but what I gathered, talking, you know, to my daughter
Hmm.
as well, and it's the extra, um, where a compliment from a different race is, "Oh, you're eye candy."
Hmm.
I want to just use the same scenario, and and this is from an older gentleman. "You're eye candy. I'm going to miss my eye candy." And then you get a scenario where it's a black man, and it's eye candy um and a nice booty.
Hmm.
You see the difference. You see the difference. And what I was gathering just by listening and having conversation is that we we respect uh the white woman, but we don't truly respect the black woman in the same way. It's always extra. We always go. We'll have the same statement. I'm going to miss my eye candy, but it's going to be a little bit more
Well,
because
hold on.
okay.
Before you continue, I need some clarification because people in my generation probably don't know what the hell you're talking about saying I'm gonna
Mhm,
miss my eye candy. Because when you said
mhm,
that, I'm thinking she's already gone. Because
mhm.
when you say I'm gonna miss my eye
No, no,
candy,
no.
so
You
I'm
saying
like,
this
is
to
she
her. You saying this to her.
right?
To her.
But I'm saying that term, I'm gonna miss my eye candy. That
Mhm,
implies to me that the person is leaving,
mhm.
like this person is getting ready to leave and you're trying to go pursue her. So
Mhm.
I'm a little lost
Okay.
what that phrase means, because that
Right.
tells me like you're going after somebody that's leaving. So
Mhm,
in in that case, like I don't think anybody's going to really pay somebody in my generation would pay any attention to what you're saying because you that
mhm.
tells me you're going after somebody that's getting ready to leave. And I'm like, okay, whatever. I mean, it's not somebody at the
Oh,
party.
so you just go for it and don't care about
I
the
mean,
repercussion?
they're going to go talk to somebody. It's not like I'm not gonna know what their motives are. I'm not a mind reader. Like they can just be
Mhm,
trying to go talk to get to know somebody that they deemed it was eye candy. So it's just I guess that's more of a generational barrier. Maybe I don't know. I don't like I said. That's the first time I've heard that term. So that would just
mhm,
tell me that you're going to go talk to somebody that's leaving that you find attractive. The way I broke it
mhm,
down, but
mhm.
yeah, I've never heard anybody say that in life.
It's like I said, it's an older generation. Might be an older generation gap thing. So, what would a younger person use with the same scenario?
I don't think there's a blanket statement that would be said. I mean, there's things everybody because everybody's different. There's not a blanket statement that everyone's going to say when approaching somebody at a dinner party. Like or a work party, whatever you want to call
Office
it.
party, office
Right.
party. Yeah.
So that's a hard one for me to give you an answer on because
Okay.
everybody's game is different. They have different ways of going about it. But if you're just talking about in general, yeah, there's different tactics that can be used when talking to somebody. But 9 times out of 10, I wouldn't expect somebody to step out of line at an office party unless they've been drinking. You know what I mean? Like most of the time,
Well,
you're not gonna really like show out like that amongst your peers.
so you don't see at your age,
Hmm.
you don't see a disparity when interaction between a black man and a white woman compared to a black man and a black woman. They handle them both the same. Is there?
I I think it depends. With the way things are now, I think the pursuit of the white woman is a little bit easier as far as trying to get to know her and everything like that. It doesn't seem like it's as guarded. Um, because the black woman always has that stereotype. Not saying that they all do. It's just like they're
Mhm.
just combative all the time, and I think that having to mentally deal with go through those mental gymnastics to deal with that, people, a lot of men, well, black men or minorities, I guess, will prefer to go after something that is a little bit easier on your mental, so you're not sitting there, I don't need no, the attitude and all this other stuff. So that would be the major difference, I would say, between the two. But they both get approached, I would say they both get approached equally. But there's a lot of other there's a lot of layers that are
There's a
on
lot of layers,
that as
and,
well.
and I must admit, I was in the same mindset as you based on that.
Mhm,
I thought there was a little more aggression, little more masculine, and I still it's still there,
mhm,
but maybe I didn't get the full picture of why it might be there
mhm,
and and what is creating maybe this situation. I know it's a lot of factors, like you said, those layers. Growing up single family homes, parent homes, that plays a part. Um,
where you grew up at plays a part. Like
that's right. Your
if you didn't
environment.
yeah, if you didn't grow up around a lot of like minorities, that's all you're gonna know. So that's you grew up a lot around you grew up a lot around white people. That's all you're gonna really pursue because you're not gonna be used to the other ethnicities. You have no exposure to that. I mean, yeah, college might give you some exposure, but if it's predominantly white school, that's all you're really gonna know. So,
uh,
right,
It, it that's true. That's true. I mean, you're comfortable with what you know.
right,
With what you don't know, you're not as comfortable. But what I want to expand on that is that maybe it goes a little deeper than that, where there's underlining um, belief. It's not even something that you consciously do, that you believe one is better than the other, and you act accordingly.
mm,
You show respect to one. Like, I'm just saying that simple scenario. Oh, you're a beautiful woman, and leave it at that. A white person a white male, whatever age group, might say, "Oh, to a black woman, oh, you're a beautiful person, beautiful woman,"
mm,
and say, "Thank you, appreciate the service. I just wanted to tell you, you're a beautiful woman," and leave. You know, a black guy will say, "Oh, you're a beautiful woman," but because she's black, he'll add more to it that's out of line, where you constantly get this from people. that should be respecting you. You respect everybody else, but you don't show me that respect. You want a relationship. You want to go further. You want to push it. Then I can put up barriers because people put up barriers to protect themselves. And then they get to this point where now I can't even take a somebody saying hi to me and say hi back anymore
Mm.
because it's been I've been a victim of just saying hi. Oh, hey, how you doing? Then next thing you know, I want your number. I want this, that. And then when you say, well, that's not what that hi was about. I'm just showing you a greeting. You greeted me, I greeted you back. Now it's going to another level. But if you said hi to another group, it'd have been hi, and you keep moving. So I think it's a level of disrespect, not probably intentionally, but just a comfort that black males probably have with black females that they don't have with white females that comes out in interaction. I didn't think about it in that way
Mm.
until I started listening. I'm not saying this all, I'm
Mm.
just saying it's possible.
Yeah, it's definitely possible. And just to recap, so you're saying that we're more comfortable and disrespectful to black women than we are to other, basically other ethnicities, right?
That's right.
Okay.
That's right.
I just wanted to make sure. I wanted to make sure we're on the. I'm
That's,
listening to what you're saying. So.
it was pointed out to me,
Mm.
and I kind of got it, but I don't do it.
Mm.
But I understand that.
Well, I mean, I wouldn't even, to be honest with you, with the way I don't even know if it goes to that point of disrespect because half the time it's just like you can't even really talk to anybody of the opposite gender now with everything that's going on. It's just I mean you have so many. Even if you wanted to get to know somebody, you have so many hurdles you get to go through. So you're already on the defensive because you get looked at for your status and everything like that. And then if something's said to you, like I mean, it's a two-way street, right? I mean, there's been you try to approach somebody like, oh, you're short. You know what I mean? Like you get called short right off the bat, even though you just said, just like you said hi, and they're like,
Right.
oh, you're uglier, you this, boy, bye. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, oh, so I can't even, and so that perpetuates the retaliation, or you holding that. Basically, you're holding that against the next one you see. So it's not just so much like going out our way to be disrespectful. I think it's more of a cycle, to be honest with you. It starts somewhere.
A cycle of what?
Like basic. I don't know if you've ever heard this, where like this was a saying I learned. Not a saying, but this was something I learned back in high school, where it's like you have the nice guy for
Mm-hmm.
trying to pursue the girl, and
Right.
she keeps messing around. Then he becomes the butthole or whatever, and then he goes around and then finds the girl that the girl wants to be with the butthole. She gets broken down, and then she ends up being tossed aside because the guy was being butthole. Then she finds a nice guy, and then she corrupts the nice guy to make him a butthole. You know what I mean? Like that cycle.
Okay.
That's what I'm
Okay.
saying.
Okay.
That
Yeah,
yeah.
that perpetual
Yeah,
wheel. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
the
Okay. I got
circle.
it. Okay.
Or it's like
All
the
right.
the good girl dates the butthole, gets turned into she gets jaded or whatever. Then the nice guy tries to get to know her or whatever, and then she corrupts the nice guy, makes him a butthole, and so yeah, that was kind of like the cycle that I've learned, and it kind of holds some weight nowadays.
Mhm.
And
Okay.
that's where I was
Yes.
coming from as far as that two-way street kind of thing. So when you go up to
Okay.
talk to somebody and they're already you know talking about they're already thinking that you're trying to talk to them, so they're already lashing out at you, even though what you were saying, you're just trying to say hi or whatever. So now you're already like, oh well, I mean, if people are going to say that, then I'm just going to come with the disrespect right off the jump. you know. And I know not every it's not the same situation with everybody, but you know, some people will take that to heart. You know, if you're getting called for something that you can't control, like you're short or you know your physical features aren't right or something like that, and you're just like, well, I mean, what do you want me? I mean, you can change some of your physical features. Don't get me wrong, but like man, you can't. You
I mean,
know,
how tall you are. I mean,
you didn't get the chance to pick that. You know, going down the aisle, like yeah, I want to be 6'3". No, you get the roll of dice. It's the roll of dice, and that's what you get.
but I understand what you're saying. But is there a lack of the thing was that stood out to me was the lack of respect. Is it straight across the board, or do we not respect black women just like we respect white women? And the thing is, the reason why it struck me is because you know I'm that guy that I'm from the South. I wave. I say hi.
Mm,
I'm hold the door.
mm,
And then the responses I was getting from my sisters were, not all, but some. Only time I got a good, pretty much a consistent good response is older, my age and older.
mm,
Younger, I did not get that response. And they'll walk by you when you say a word, what even like you the door automatically opened.
right.
It's like it had scanners there, and yet, and then talking and listening, then I realized, is this person been bit by that pit bull so many times
Mm,
that they feel that this is the way to protect themselves, or is this like what I always thought? Is this being rude, mean, angry, or what? Oh, is this, how many times you got to bite me before I realize I don't want to be bit anymore?
mm. I think it's that generational thing. I think your generation wasn't exposed to everything that we're being exposed to now. So,
Okay.
like we said, like we discussed earlier, you have the women empowerment, you know, all the things that the tools that are given the women empowerment, the social medias, the being successful on your own, so you're going to I think you're going to come across that more in my generation and younger compared to the older generation that had those values already instilled before you had all these things come across on the table. Like, don't get me wrong, there's still going to be some that'll try, but they'll be looking foolish. A lot of times, like if you see somebody like doing that, because I can tell you right now, when I went to Raleigh just this past weekend, and it was doing the same thing. Like there was a older lady carrying a cat and had something in her arm, and I opened the door so she can get inside the pet thing. And she said thank you. And I was
Oh,
just like,
absolutely.
right.
She does.
And
She does. But
yeah, I
right.
mean, there's weight to that, and I think a lot of it, like I said, has to do with the fact that we're growing. Our generation's growing up with a lot of changes going on to combat, not really combat, but to shatter the typical mold of how things used to be. As far as like what your generation grew up with, and I think that's where you're getting a lot of those, those passings without saying anything. Like not all, don't get me wrong. Like
No, that's not all. It's never
it's,
all.
I think it's just some that honestly that just feel themselves a little bit too much. That think their stuff don't stink, and those are the ones that you probably are running into when you hold open the door and stuff like that. Um,
But do you see? But I've heard that the younger generation, like if they did what I did, hold the door,
mhm,
a younger man will respond to that in a negative way, and address that situation, saying, Oh, you're not going to say thank you, curse her out, what? I- I- is that more common in the younger
I
generation?
would say
You
yeah.
know,
That
hey,
that is yeah.
I suck it up.
Yeah, that
I
is
suck
that's definitely more common. 100%. I'll agree with you on that one. Like that's more common because I think there those things, even though it should be kind of understood, huh?
it.
It should
They,
be kind of
they can't,
understood, huh?
they can't handle it. That's what you're
It's not
saying.
so much they can't handle it. It's just one of those things like it's nice every once in a while to be told thank you. And I
Mhm.
think I don't know what their situation is per se, but you know, a lot of if they're holding the door open for a lot of people, and a lot of people are going in, nobody says thank you. You're not gonna feel some kind.
No,
Uh,
I said a lot of people
no, but I'm
just
but I'm
say
just saying,
okay,
but I'm just saying like, um, but I understand like because it's just really difficult to pinpoint it to one thing.
mhm,
In all honesty, but I agree with you that you know that does happen. Uh,
mhm.
I don't know about people my age. I haven't really seen anybody really my age do that, but I have seen like the younger.
Hold the door open your age. Go ahead.
You said what?
They don't even hold the door
Oh,
open.
we hold the door open, but you take too long to get through the door. That's the problem.
Okay,
Um,
but no, I meant
but
that, y'all.
I think the younger crowd is more like that, and I think it you know it's that ego. It's that ego,
Mhm,
like, oh, I'm
okay,
gonna hold the door. Oh, you didn't say thank you now. Now is when I say something or whatever. And like I said, I don't know if that is one of those things where it's been a compounding thing over time, where they kept holding the door open and nobody says thank you. But I know from a fact that it does feel good to hear a thank you every once in a while. Like,
absolutely.
let's keep it a buck. It feels good to hear a thank you every once in a while. So you
It,
know,
it's courteous. It's
right.
being courteous.
Right. So it's one of those things I think that gets taken for granted a lot of times that people don't think about it. So I don't know what they all went through per se, but if they're doing it off jump,
They
like
have to go through something to say thank you.
no. I'm saying the people holding open the door, like,
Mhm, okay,
and you know they retaliate like you were saying. So I don't know
right.
if it was like a compounding thing, but if they're saying it from the jump, I don't think they were informed of how it works. You know, per se, like that wasn't something they like. Yeah, they got the base level of it, like the introductory course of being
I
courteous,
got
but they weren't taught the long run. Like you're not. It's one of the things.
you. They might not say thank you.
Right. It's one of those things where like you do a lot of the dirty work and nobody says thank you, but
That's
they
right.
know that
That's
you
right.
do it. You know what I mean? So it's one of those kind of situations that I don't think they got the whole understanding for.
So you don't think there is a difference in how people interact based on the color of their skin?
Oh, 100%. 100%. There's a difference. There's 100% a difference. Like
So
um
I'm listening.
it just I feel like for and I might be wrong on this, but I feel like for the black community when
This is
a
our opinion.
no,
This is our
I
opinion.
know, but I'm saying for the black community, if a like if a white guy goes up to a black girl, she's gonna think he's being fresh, and you know, I mean, he's stepping out of his comfort zone, so that might be looked at as a thing of like, oh, you know, he's um not he has some fortitude basically, like stepping up to me, you know, despite knowing how I am, this that, and the you know how the stereotype I would say, this that and the third. So not all, but I think it's if we're talking about like ones that are from the hood, I
Oh,
guess
you
the
okay?
hood,
Okay. Okay.
like and I think there's a couple of movies that kind of not really pushed it, but there was one with like Jamie Kennedy where he was a white rapper, Malibu's Most Wanted, and he was
Oh,
you see
isn't that is
it's a comedy, but I'm saying it's that same kind of thing where like you know he's going up and talking to the black girl and it's like oh well you know he may be a little bit off but he's approaching me this that and the third so you know
so
and
so you make a good point. So even do white women look I mean black women look at white men doesn't matter what status, as something different compared to looking at a black man in the same position.
I mean, yeah, I think so because I feel like most of them aren't expecting a white man to come talk to them. To be honest with you,
Why wouldn't they expect that?
because that's not one of those things that's seen that often. Like, how often are we seeing that? Like, we don't. I don't see a lot of like white man,
Isn't
black
that the new
girl.
norm now?
No,
Is
no,
it,
no. The new norm is black man, white woman. I don't see a lot of white man, black woman. So when that happens, I think it's a great thing. Don't get me wrong, but it's one of those like, oh, he's stepping out of his comfort zone to come talk to me, kind of things. Like they're not. I don't think that's something that they're expecting when it comes to that. So that's why it's kind of it kind of catches them off guard, I would guess, when
Mhm.
those kind of things happen, because the norm is pushing the black man and white woman. That's what's been being pushed 95% of the time. Commercials and everything like that. So
So let's expand on that. Are we getting the cream, or are we getting what's left over on the bottom of it after the cream rises, or whatever? Like what I'm saying is, time and time again, you see with you say black males
mm,
with white women, and I'm saying there's a respect level that might be an issue there that we haven't addressed and nobody wants to talk about. But let's say, with all that aside, that that are they getting the best of
is
the best, or are they just settling for what's left over?
is who getting the best?
And then, like a female getting a white guy, is she getting the best of the best, or is she getting what's left over?
I mean, I think it just depends on the person. I can't really say it's the best of the best.
But but
Uh,
I've seen this. I've seen situations or couples, and I'm not knocking any couple
you know what?
that look odd,
Mm,
that they would not accept that with their own race, would they accept them in that condition,
mm.
and they wouldn't accept that in their own race.
I think a lot of that has to do. I just thought about this where we're located. We're in the Bible Belt, so a lot of those old time religious groups and everything. You'd want to keep everything the status quo. So that's probably why you're not seeing a whole lot of it. Um, like it's starting to come up now. And I know a lot of people are
Especially, with sexuality, you could claim whatever you
right.
want. So, you know,
But I
I
think if we moved I think if we went like out west, like California out there, you probably see a lot more of that compared to being or New York, like up north. You probably see a lot more of that compared to here because you have those beliefs instilled at you instilled in you at birth. So you're just programmed to look at it a certain way. Um, and I think that probably plays a huge factor in a lot of who talks to who or whatnot or who goes after what. Um, but yeah, I think it's really it's a lot to it's a lot that goes into it because there's a lot of different factors once again that play into that discussion. Um, but I think that that underlying thing. Another movie that I actually just thought about was Undercover Brother. I don't know if you remember that one, where
seen that a long time ago. Yeah, undercover.
but the scene where I think a lot of it has to do with that, and I'll get to this here in a minute, where they were trying to basically whitewash him, like put mayo and stuff, and they're trying to make him forget who he was and that thing, and then you had the sister come in and trying to save it, trying to break him back to remember who he was, and I think that's what a lot of people look at it like as far as that. When like if a black man was going to go after a white female, it's like the sisters in the group are looking at it like, oh, he's about to we're about to lose another one. in a sense. Um, and I think that kind of plays a factor with people wanting to stay where stay inclusive. Is it inclusive? I think it's inclusive.
Yeah, I
Uh,
think. But the thing I and I get all that
mm,
is it's the mindset of the man and how the woman perceives it. So this is what I'm gathering. Okay, when and I'm saying pit bull or a golden retriever, and and this is how kind of you know I kind of gathered it. Okay, if I'm going to give you a compliment,
mm-hmm,
I should the opposite sex. It doesn't matter white, black, green, purple, or red. It should be the same across the board. But what I'm gathering and talking and learning is it's not the same across the board.
right.
One group will get this response, and this group will get that response and all that extra stuff. And that's the pit bull going beyond. So it doesn't even get it's like a compliment, disrespect.
Mm-hmm,
It's a compliment, but disrespect on the end of it. And we need to understand that both parties deserve respect.
mm-hmm,
And now you expect somebody who's been disrespected constantly to act respectful when they're going to put defenses up because they've been disrespected. I'm not saying all, I'm just saying I can't expect someone to be respectful if they've been disrespected constantly
right.
by a particular and, I only a particular group.
Mm,
So with that being said, I think that the issue doesn't always lie with the one who seems to be disrespecting us.
mm,
We got to hold some accountability and saying, look, am I treating my black women just like I treat white women? Do do I need to stop every time somebody says hi, or every time somebody does something that I should take it to another level?
mm-hmm.
And maybe if we start doing that, that we might get a different response. I had to question that because I'm just wondering where's this coming from.
And so I think some of it is how, and while you were speaking, I just thought about this. That may be a tactic to the mental manipulation. So it's one of those things where it's like, if it works 80% of the time, then why would I need to change it? You go disrespect, a female. It's a thing. It's a real thing. So I think that plays a part in some of that. Not saying that that's their end game, as far as going out the way, because everybody, like you said, everybody's different. But if they're going out their way to disrespect you, that may be some kind of seed they're trying to plant to make you doubt yourself in that mental manipulation, so you end up being with them, and then that's how you end up in that whole the mental abuse and everything like that, if you end up in a relationship with that person, because that is a tactic that is known to be used, like out the gate when you're meeting somebody, like
Oh,
you
okay.
do. I don't know what degree of disrespect you're referring to, but you do, like, some,
Whatever. It doesn't matter.
you talk about like how they're dressed or something like that, or whatever the case may be. As far as a man,
Right. No,
like,
this is our
right,
perspective.
right.
Right.
No, I'm saying it like that. It's a tactic for men that they use
That's right.
on
Use
they use
women.
that's used on women. Because women will just tell you straight up, like if they call you short, they're not trying to, they're not trying to, they're literally
They
just
shut you down quick.
yeah.
Don't care about
So
your feelings or anything, but
right.
yeah,
So I think that that does play into some of that. And if that's how they were brought up, or they're watching the videos and stuff, because a lot of influence. So if you're watching those videos and things like that, and you see it work, if it works a couple of times, why would you want to stop it? If it ain't broke, don't fix it, kind of thing. So
okay.
I think that plays a role in some of it, and some people just weren't raised right. So there's your other percentage right there. So it just depends. It's not a
Oh no, I'm
blanket.
getting enlightened right now. Go ahead.
It's
Yeah,
not a blank. It's not a blanket statement for everybody, but a lot of those, that may be one of the reasons why they're coming with the disrespect, is because they're trying to knock you down essentially, to where you're that bug is planted in your ear, and then you end up with them, and it's a vicious cycle. Like, it's really a really bad cycle to like see. I've seen it like maybe twice, where it's just
right.
like,
Really?
bro, it's like, bro,
At
what?
first, you- she gave you the number? Really?
Exactly. It's just what?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah.
So with that cycle, trying to break that cycle, is there something? What I'm looking at is, so is this something we have to just accept, or can we make changes so that maybe Black women could feel more respected than they possibly do?
I mean,
Because what I'm saying is I'm doing things that are respectful, but I'm
mhm,
getting disrespected in the process.
right. I mean,
But I'm not going to react like that guy and curse you
but
out or do all that.
here's the
But
thing. You're different from you and me. We're different. We're two different. We're two individuals in what, an 8.9 billion billion pop. Not everybody's going to be down with that. They're going to be stuck in their ways, just like a lot of people in your generation may be stuck in their ways with doing certain things. So,
absolutely.
I mean, there can be an attempt made, but you can't expect rapid results like overnight. It's gonna be a generation after generation thing. So it's gonna come down to the teachings, and teaching them everything, and not just, oh, you're supposed to hold open the door, but you got to tell them you're not gonna get thank you every time you hold open the door. You can't feel some kind of way if they don't tell you thank you. That's just the way of life. People are concerned about themselves 90% of the time.
And my concern is, do we care about who we are enough to love each other, to
No.
take care of ourselves, to, you know, be our brother's keeper in a sense, brother and sister's keeper? Do we care about ourselves enough
J-
to do that and
j-
respect? And respect is just the
Jay,
bottom of that. Care about, you know,
Jay,
you
you
know.
already know the answer to that. Everybody's out for number
It's
one.
sad.
Everybody's out for number one. Not, I would say everybody, my generation and lower, that isn't married, girlfriend, anything like that, they're out for number one. They're looking out for themselves. You could be dying. You could be dying in the street. We talked about this. You'd be bleeding out in the street. They'll film it and be like, "Yo, yeah, look, let me get these views real quick." Like, what?
Listen, this just happened. I think this last week or this weekend, and it's kind of off topic, but the caring portion of it.
Mm,
A Black man was in a medical emergency. He was a worker at a convenience store. He was in a medical emergency. A guy was in the store. He stole $15,000 and walked out the store and cigarettes and stuff. It didn't even call 911. The man died. 2 hours later, the man died.
yeah,
If he had called 911, even after he stole the stuff, it still would have been better than what he did. Just we got we got to care.
yeah,
We
but
got to respect each other. You know, lives are being lost, and but that's why I felt this was a good topic, because are we losing it to the point where we don't care about our own people, but we can? care about other people and not ourselves.
I mean, I've seen people help people and they get sued. So I mean, it's one of those things. Is it
Oh,
what?
so you always talking about being sued, but you're right. You're right.
Am I
You go,
wrong? Like you go to help
oh,
somebody. Oh, he helped me. Let me sue him. I was like, wait, what?
are you there helping somebody? They think you hurting them.
Right,
You're the one did,
right. So it's just like, what do you do? I mean,
especially when you wear this uniform.
hmm
Yeah.
so
So
that's how that goes. So that plays a part, and everybody's looking out to get a buck. So you kind of have to be guarded, which is unfortunate with what you do and who you help and things like that. But yeah, everybody is out for number one in this day and age, so you're not going to really get a whole lot of trying to take care of somebody else. I mean, don't get me wrong, and you'll get a. I tend to believe you'll get more people that do than that don't. At
yes,
the
yes.
at the end of the day,
I look at the best that
yeah.
more likely there's very few people who do that
Mm,
than would do the right thing.
right,
I have to believe that. I have to
right.
believe that.
So it's just that's just the way that's just the way it is. I mean, look,
It's not funny. It's sad, but it's what you gonna do? Either you gonna just. But I just wish that people will start caring about each other, respect each other, and and don't look at that response, that immediate response. It's a lot of trauma behind that. It's an environment behind that. It's a community behind that. It's where you grew up. Like you said, you grew up in an environment where you're not familiar with a certain group of people. You're not familiar.
so
You're comfortable where you're at.
right.
So
And that was before we get out of here. That was I think that's a major thing is that people are so quick to comment about certain things, but people don't understand the background. So yeah, if a black girl's dating a white guy or a black guy's dating a white girl or Hispanic or whatever, that may just be where he grew up. I
that's
mean, if he grew up in that area, that's all he's going to be used to. That's all he's going to be used to dealing with. Like, so get a little bit more clarity before you take him to the stake to burn him,
right.
essentially. But that's a little bit off topic. But that's kind of
No, no,
something
no,
that
no. Hey, no, this much appreciated. And yeah, this is my topic for today. And I thought it was pretty good. And I appreciate your feedback and your opinion. But I thought it went well. And I hope that people can take it and use it and comment, share, and give us some feedback. I'm interested to know because I want to learn. I want to make things better in our community and across the world. I mean, this better world and understanding each other and understanding why we do what we do is the first step in that. So thank you, thank you, Tack. I hope you learned something today.
I mean, this is already stuff that I already knew, so it's nothing. It's nothing new to me. It was more so enlightening you, and
All right,
being
all
in
right. I
your
appreciate
enclosed space because you're where you are and where you are in life and everything like that.
meditation.
You're in closed
Meditation.
space. Meanwhile, I'm out here on the battlefield, going through the trenches and everything like that. That's neither here nor there. I just wanted to let you know how it is out here in the real world. But yeah,
Thank you.
we hope you all enjoyed today's
All right.
episode. And we'll see you next week. And you all take care. And we're out of here. Later, everybody.